My blood tests were coming back better every month. My GP was happy and I was still waking up at 3 in the morning wondering what was wrong with me. Nothing looked broken from the outside, the numbers were moving in the right direction. But I'd lie there at 3, 4 in the morning, completely awake, no reason for it, and think, if I fixed all these other things, why is this still happening? I'm Neil, 13 years of NHS blood data, off all medication since February 2024, and it took me 6 months of improving metabolic markers before sleep finally followed. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you why sleep is always last in the repair sequence and why that's not your failure. It's physiology. If your blood sugar, inflammation or weight are heading in the right direction and sleep is still broken, this is for you. That's exactly how it works. We'll cover 3 things. First, why metabolic damage disrupts sleep architecture at a deeper level than most people realise, and why fixing the blood tests doesn't automatically fix the sleep. Second, what my own 6-month sleep lag looked like month by month, including the morning in May 24 when I woke up at 5:47 and understood that something had finally reset. And third, the one thing I was doing wrong in month 2 and 3 that was actively delaying the process and what changed. Here's what most people believe. I believed it too for a long time. Sort your diet, lose a bit of weight, and sleep will sort itself out. Simple. Cause and effect. Improve the inputs. Sleep follows. It's in every lifestyle article, every well-being guide. Eat better, sleep better. Clean living leads to clean sleep. And on the surface, it makes complete sense. There's nothing wrong with that logic. The problem is the timeline it implies. Fix the food, fix the sleep, and the assumption underneath is that they happen together, simultaneously. That you clean up what you're eating, and within a few weeks, the sleep catches up. That's the bit nobody mentions, the lag. Cale Barnes-Lentz, longevity specialist over a decade in this space, put it plainly. Poor sleep increases ghrelin, suppresses immune function, and directly undermines whatever nutrition work you're doing the following day. What she's describing is a two-way street. Sleep disrupts metabolic health, but metabolic damage also disrupts sleep. And when you've spent years building up that damage, unwinding it takes longer than a fortnight of good meals. The conventional framing misses that completely. My sleep started going wrong somewhere around 2021. I think COVID-ish period, working from home, routines completely collapsed. Before that, I'd been a heavy sleeper. Proper deep sleep, nothing woke me. Then gradually that changed. I went from sleeping deeply to being restless. Not every night. If I was genuinely exhausted, I'd go down and stay down. But most nights I'd wake somewhere between 2 and 4 in the morning, completely awake, no obvious reasons, just awake. And I'd lie there thinking about nothing in particular, which is somehow worse than lying there worrying about something. And this carried on for years. And during those same years, here's what my blood tests were doing. July 2020, HbA1c 43.2, pre-diabetic range, cholesterol 7.4. October 22, HbA1c climbed to 47. December 2023, cholesterol peaked at 8, highest it had ever been. I was on 6 medications, statins for the cholesterol, alpurinol for gout, asthma inhalers, antihistamines. I was doing what I was told, and the markers were still going in the wrong direction. The sleep was broken, the bloods were getting worse, and I couldn't work out which was causing which. Turns out, both. They were feeding each other. Boxing Day 2023, I made a decision. Changed everything, what I was eating, when I was eating, how much I was moving. The specifics. I stopped eating for 10 days. I moved to 1 meal a day. Cut out ultra-processed foods almost entirely. Started walking most mornings. And this is relevant to the sleep. I stopped eating late. Not deliberately at first, just naturally. When you compress your eating window, you stop sitting on the sofa at midnight with a biscuit and a full caffeine coffee. That behaviour just went, and I hadn't quite registered it as sleep intervention at the time. I thought I was changing my diet. I didn't realise I was also changing my circadian signals. I stopped all medications February 2024, and from January 2024, I started tracking blood results. Sleep though, I was monitoring that myself. My GP and I have never discussed it once. Not one conversation, which is either a gap in the system or a sign that my numbers were the thing they were focused on. Possibly both. What I was doing wrong in months 2 and 3 was having my eating window too late. I needed to bring that back forward. And I was having black coffees, but I was having them still with full caffeine late into the evening. I genuinely didn't clock that having a strong coffee at 10 or 11 at night and then wondering why I couldn't sleep was part of the same problem, as I'd done this for decades. I moved to decaf after mid-afternoon, late afternoon, and I stopped late night snacking. And that shift did matter. The blood markers moved first, significantly. January 2025, HbA1c 40, back in normal range for the first time in years. CRP inflammation marker dropped from 6.2 in January to 1 by April. Liver enzymes, which had been elevated on the statins, normalised completely. ALT went from 69 down to 10. But sleep had been lagging behind. Months 1 and 2, post-reset, still broken. Still waking at 3 or 4, still lying there. I was eating better, moving more, losing weight. And the 3 o'clock wake-ups hadn't stopped. Month 3 to 4, I start noticing I was falling asleep at a more reasonable time. Not dramatically earlier, just earlier. And the waking was becoming less frequent, less predictable. Month 5, still some disruption, but I was waking and getting back to sleep rather than lying there for an hour. And then May 2024, month 5, I woke up at 5:47, no alarm, room still dark. And I just lay there feeling completely clear, no grogginess, no wondering why I was awake, just awake properly at the right time. It happened the next morning and the morning after that. By the end of 2025, I tracked 57 nights, rated 9 or 10 out of 10 for sleep quality across the full year. No sleeping pills, no melatonin supplements, no alcohol as a sleep aid, just metabolic health that had finally caught up. My GP has started looking forward to my blood tests almost as much as I do, which probably says something about the state of the NHS, but also about what's possible when you actually change the inputs. 13 years of data, all of it documented here. Subscribe if you want to follow it. What my 6 months of broken sleep followed by genuine resets suggests, and it's one person's data, is that sleep is downstream of metabolic health, not parallel to it. You don't fix them together. You fix the inputs first and sleep follows on its own timeline. In my case, that was 6 months, not 6 weeks. This doesn't mean everyone with poor sleep should start fasting and wait. If your sleep is disrupted by sleep apnea, by chronic anxiety, by medication side effects, by shift work, those are different problems with different solutions. And if you're on medication of any kind, the conversation about changing your eating pattern starts with your GP, not with YouTube. Here's the thing worth sitting with if you're not yet in the clinical conversation. The mechanism, the way blood sugar instability and low-grade inflammation interfere with sleep architecture tends to be running in the background years before anyone puts a number on it. The 3 o'clock wake up often comes before the HbA1c creeps up, before the cholesterol letter. It's the body signalling early that something is off. If that sounds familiar, it might be worth paying attention to, not after the diagnosis, but now. If this landed for you, my 7-day fasting blueprint is free. It's in the description. It covers the eating window changes that for me turned out to be doing double duty, metabolic repair and sleep, both at once. I just didn't plan it that way. The data just showed up like that. Links below. This is educational content only. It's not medical advice. Never stop or change medication without your GP supervision.